Hello, everybody. Eric here with my weekly wrap up for January 26th through February 1st. I'm recording this again because I realized a few minutes into my original recording, I glanced over at the calendar to see what the dates were for the week that I'm doing a wrap up of and didn't think about the fact that I had switched to February on my calendar. So I gave the wrong dates originally. So I'm re recording it. January 26th through February 1st is the week that I'm talking about. So on the channel on the 27th, Monday the 27th, I posted my review for Alien 3, the unproduced screenplay by William Gibson, novelized by Pat Cadigan. It's quite the mouthful, but it is what it says on the tin. William Gibson, the godfather of cyberpunk, wrote a screenplay for Alien 3 and an unproduced screenplay. And Pat Cadigan novelized that screenplay. That's what I read and reviewed. If you're a fan of the Alien franchise, you need to check this out. On Friday, I posted a review for Confessions of a Puppet Master by Charles Band, and this is the memoirs of Charles Band of Empire Pictures, I believe it's Empire Pictures, and New Moon, or Full Moon, excuse me. So things like Trancers, Puppet Master, Reanimators in there, all sorts of stuff. If you're a fan of that stuff, check out that review, please. And of course, Reading Remembrances for September of 2005 was posted last Wednesday. And that's pretty much it for the channel, except for the weekly wrap-up, of course. In personal news, my first full week at the new job. See, it's when I got to this point in the video that I realized I had said the wrong dates. Because I started on January 20th, at a brand new job. I worked Monday, Tuesday, and then I called off sick Wednesday and Thursday, worked that Friday. Off for the weekend, and then this past week, worked all 5 days, even got a couple of hours of overtime. It's a job, it's going to pay the bills, and as you'll see, it's going to buy some books. So that's the big news there. Working a job. Hopefully it'll be fine, and I'll work and make money and live. But I also got my both federal and state tax returns, so I did a little treating of myself. So first, I'm going to show you this game that I just bought today. Played it already. I'm a big fan of it. This is called SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And it is a table hog. You're going out into the universe. There's 3 layers that rotate of the solar system, but you're sending out probes, and then you're going out to over here planets. You can orbit planets or land on the planets, and you're looking for these aliens. At the beginning of the game, there's 5 aliens in the box. You pick 2 at random. You don't know what they're going to be until you discover them. They add new elements to the game. You play 5 rounds. Whoever's got the most points at the end of the game wins. All sorts of stuff going on here. I really, really enjoyed it. So that was a little treat to myself with my tax return money. But the thing a lot of you are going to be here for, if you read the title of this video, is the books. I ordered some books, and I went to Half Price Books. So let's have a little tiny mini book haul. And we're going to start with the books that I ordered from Amazon. One of them is supposed to arrive, well, tomorrow as I record this. Today, if you're watching it, the day it goes up. And that's Strange New Moons, a werewolf anthology from French Press Publishing, edited by Stephen Kozanowski and Kaylee Dobbs. First thing I ordered. It's going to be the last thing to arrive. I ordered some other books, and they all came within a day. So let's take a look at those. First, we have Strange Stones by Mary Sangiovanni and Edward Lee. And this is from Clash Books. And it's about this asshole at a convention who messes with the wrong woman, and she curses him to and sends him to a world where like the Lovecraftian creatures, Lovecraftian stuff is real. And he's trying to find his way back. Something like that. Anyway, I'm a huge fan of both Mary Sangiovanni and Edward Lee. And this sounds really, really good. And then I got, this is a little tiny book, smaller than I expected, from Death's Head Press. This is The Rising, More Selected Scenes from the End of the World by Brian Keene. This is a collection of short stories set in the world of The Rising, taking place before the events of the book, after the events of the book. It's got some great illustrations inside. I'll just share one. Love it. And this says, complemented with original illustrations by Anthrax's Charlie Benante. And also there's an extra, I believe one extra illustration by the cover artist, whose name I do not know off the top of my head. Let's see if that's Wes Benscoter. Benscoter? But wait, that's the cover. Hold on. That's, yeah, that's the cover artist. But the thing about this book is a bunch of people paid to be, I can't remember if they paid Scares the Care charity, what the whole deal was, but basically each of these stories was written for a specific person with that person as a character in the story. I believe that is the case with this book. Is there an introduction? There is an introduction. Oh, that's what, I'm sorry. It was for Christopher Triana's dog Bear got sick, and they were raising money for Bear's vet bills. So that's what it was for. So called Christopher Triana up, suggested we offer a bunch of brand new short stories to take place in that setting. Each story would star the person who purchased it, and all the funds would go to Bear's treatment. So that's what we've got going on here. Anyway, short stories set in the world of The Rising. More selected scenes from the End of the World. I enjoyed. Well, I love The Rising and City of the Dead and the other book that I can't remember the name of. I want to say it's Deliverance or something. And selected scenes from the End of the World, the first short story collection. Great stuff. New Rising stories. Brian Keene. Then we have Alien, Seventh Circle, the latest original Alien novel. And this one sounds wild. Not going to go into what it is, but I think I'm up to date on all of the new, this is from Titan Books, all the stuff that Titan has put out in the Alien franchise. I think I have everything. There's one called Cult coming out. But this one sounds pretty wild. And it's got someone with memory loss in it. So, Alien, Seventh Circle. And then finally we have Sam Wilson, Captain America, The Shield of Sam Wilson, a revolutionary new anthology from Black American writers. So you've got Maurice Brodus is the one that I'm most familiar with, Kyoko M., Glenn Paris, just to name a few, Gary Phillips, Nicole Givens-Kurtz. Anyway, a bunch of short stories about Sam Wilson as Captain America. This is also from Titan Books, and it's got that nice inside thing going on. I'm a big fan of, I loved Sam Wilson when he was the Falcon. Love him as Captain America. Maurice Brodus, at least, is a great author. We'll see how these other folks are. And it even says at one point that he'll team up with familiar friends like Steve Rogers, Red Wing, and Nomad. I'm a big fan of the character Nomad, so we'll see how these stories are. So that's what I ordered from Amazon. Then I went to Half Price Books, and I got a little stack of books right here to share. Now, I went there looking for something specific for Judith Sonnet, and it's a book that I've seen there dozens and dozens of times, and of course, the one time I'm there looking for it, they didn't have it, so my apologies to Judith Sonnet for failing her. I was unable to find the book, but I did find some good stuff, including sort of a grail item for myself, and this is Fear Book by John L. Byrne, and it's got a nice little cover there. This is John Byrne. Comic book fans should know who John Byrne is. He had a huge run on Fantastic Four. He did X-Men stuff. Possibly best known, maybe, for his Superman Man of Steel miniseries and then the Man of Steel ongoing series. But after Crisis on Infinite Earths, it was the Man of Steel 6-issue miniseries that redefined Superman for the modern age. And he had his creator-owned comic, Next Men, which was pretty wild. And I believe he was an artist on early Iron Fist. But huge in the comic book world. This is his first novel of 2. I had found Whipping Boy last year or the year before, but I've been looking for both of them. Whipping Boy was easier to find. Fear Book, finally, it's not in the greatest condition, but I don't care. I finally have a copy of Fear Book by John Byrne. Then we have To Wake the Dead by Richard Lehman. Always kind of on the lookout-ish for Richard Lehman books that I don't have, as long as they're in nice condition. And this one has a mummy. I love mummy stories. We'll see how this one is, To Wake the Dead. And I also found The Traveling Vampire Show by Richard Lehman. Decent condition. I was only concerned with the Beast House books, which I think I'm still missing one of the Beast House books. And then I found some old and some British copies of some of Richard Lehman's stuff. So I grabbed those because they were kind of cool looking and everything. But, I might as well just grab some of his other stuff. Richard Lehman's hit and miss for me. Hit or miss. But, it's cheap. And they're in decent shape. So, some Richard Lehman. Then we have Mount Dragon by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. The die-cut cover. It's not too fancy, but got a nice die-cut cover. This is one of their sort of standalones. It's not a Pendergast book. I think I've talked about it on Reading Remembrances, and I'm slowly rebuilding my Preston and Child collection. I need to start making a list of what I have, so I don't accidentally buy copies of things I already have. But I'm 99% sure I don't have a copy of this, even though I have read it. It's I can easily reread Preston and Child again, although they have plenty I haven't read yet, so I should probably do that first. But anyway, I decided to pick up Mount Dragon. Then we have, not in the best condition, but sometimes beggars can't be choosers. This is Blood Crazy by Simon Clark. This is the leisure paperback version. And I'm going to say it's not a first edition. It's because Brian Keene pointed out in his one of his videos, he's on his YouTube channel, he is going through every book he has ever had published. Very cool series. I think I'm actually missing the last one. I don't think I saw the last one, but I'd have to check. But anyway, he mentioned when he was talking about The Rising that the way to tell if it's a first edition is the title and author's name are embossed. They're raised on the first editions, and if it's smooth, then it's a reprint. This is smooth. I'm assuming the rule applies to all of their books, not just Brian Keene's. Anyway, Blood Crazy, the first book in a trilogy. I think it's just 3 books. There's new editions out. Kaylee Dobbs just reviewed. She read the new edition and reviewed it, and I commented on the video that I was looking for the leisure copy just because I want a nice old paperback, and happened to find it at Half Price Books. Blood Crazy. And Nailed by the Heart by Simon Clarke. Slowly building my Simon Clarke collection. I just read my first Simon Clarke last year during October, Vampiric, and I loved it. So now when I come across a decent looking copy of some Simon Clarke, I'm going to snag it. So a couple of Simon Clarke books. And then the last book I picked up at Half Price Books is Star Wars Galaxy of Fear, The Swarm. These are young adult, maybe even kid books. I don't know exactly how they're labeled. It is book 8 in a series. There are 12 of them. This makes number 5 for me. And they're basically Star Wars Goosebumps. I think they all feature the same 2 young Jedi. I think they're supposed to be Jedi characters traveling throughout the galaxy, but dealing with horror in a Goosebumps sort of level. So, I missed out on Goosebumps. I was too old when Goosebumps came out. I don't think I've ever read a single Goosebumps book, but I love Star Wars. You throw in horror, even if it's for kids, I want to pick them up. I actually have on my phone, in my notes, a list of all the books that I don't have. I just deleted this one from that list. And there are 7 more that I haven't found. I'm just, every once in a while, there'll be one at Half Price Books. I'll stumble across one. And I needed to make that list because I couldn't remember which ones I had and which ones I didn't. But anyway, Star Wars Galaxy of Fear, The Swarm. So that's it. Those are the books that I picked up this week. Ordered online, picked up at Half Price Books, just to treat myself with my tax return. After paying bills, when I got the tax return, the first thing I did was paid a bunch of bills and then decided to treat myself. Now, at the end of the week, I'll get my first paycheck, and I need to go to the comic book store because they've been holding comic books for me for over 5, almost 6 months total now. As a matter of fact, I think it's over 6 months now that they've been holding comics because, when I wasn't working, I wasn't going and buying comics. I was just paying bills and eating food. Anyway, that's it. That's all the books I picked up. My new game, which I really enjoyed. I'm working. Hopefully that'll work out. And I've been listening to podcasts because I can do that. Put one earbud in. And I've just been listening to Special Viewing Unit, the podcast where they're covering every single episode of Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Aviv Rubenstein and Matt Reuter are the hosts. Very funny podcast. They're well into the seasons of SVU that I've never watched, but it's still entertaining. And since I only listen to podcasts at work, when I wasn't working for 5, almost 6 months, I wasn't listening to podcasts. So I got a lot of catching up to do. I've still got quite a few SVUs to watch, and then I'll start downloading probably How Did This Get Made next, all the episodes of that I've missed, and then I'll move on to the next one and the next one. So working, listening to podcasts. I'm still reading Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. I've been actually very tired, not used to working. I'm getting home from work, a little too tired to read, so I've barely cracked into this. Fortunately, I've got a semi-decent backlog of book reviews already recorded. And that's it. That is my week in review. And I don't have any recommendations. I don't have any questions except what's everybody up to? What are you currently reading? What are you doing? What are you watching? I picked up The Substance on Blu-ray. Another movie that I haven't watched yet. So right now, I've got Terrifier 3, Godzilla Minus One, and The Substance at the top of my Blu-ray stack that I want to catch up on those three. Oh, and I did watch the first 2 episodes of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the new animated series on Disney+. It's fun. I like the animation style, and lots of changes to Spider-Man lore, but I don't care. I enjoy it. It was a fun watch, and had a cliffhanger ending at the end of season 2, episode 2. So again, what are you reading? What are you watching? What's going on in your lives? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, I'll have links for my Instagram and Bluesky in the description below. That's all I've got for you this week. So until next week, read more books.